Hi, Internet. I'm Polar the Polar Bear, and welcome to another episode of Horror Bear. I think I'm recording. This is my girlfriend, Melissa. That down her, the lady to this direction, is my girlfriend, Melissa.
Am I in tiny window?
No, you're in big window.
Damn it.
She really wants me to make the window smaller, but this version of Skype doesn't support that functionality for reasons. I hope this is recording. Bandicam doesn't like Skype very much, but I think it is. Tonight we are going to be reviewing Guardians of the Galaxy, which will be the first review we've done for a movie that was actually released in the same year we're releasing the review.
And not a horror movie, technically.
No, it wasn't a horror movie. There weren't really even horror elements in the movie.
No.
So, I guess, brief synopsis, two mercenaries, a tree, let's see, there's two mercenaries, a tree, a green assassin, and Batista, try to save the universe from a member of the Blue Man Group who has acquired a Psyker Warhammer from the Warhammer 40k universe and is trying to use it to destroy a planet for religious reasons? I think was he a religious fanatic or just a fanatic? I think they said he was some kind of religious crazy person.
I think he just wanted domination and power.
They said he was a fanatic of some kind, though. I remember them mentioning it a few times.
Fanatic about painting his body blue?
I don't know.
I'll look it up while you're giving the synopsis.
Well, that kind of is the synopsis. I mean, it's...
I'll look it up while you're stalling everyone.
It's a sci-fi movie, a lot of space travel. The main character is Peter Quill. It was Quill, right? It wasn't Quinn. I keep wanting to call him Quinn. Okay.
It was Quill.
I thought so, yeah. Was Peter Quill, and he's kind of this, just sort of a mercenary, and he gets hooked up with some other mercenaries via them trying to capture him because he steals an artifact at like the very beginning of the movie that everybody seems to want for some reason. And it's basically just a little metal ball. You don't find out what it is until really like more than halfway through the movie, I think. It was a while before they really mentioned what was in there and explained it. But
it takes a bit.
But yeah, so he basically accidentally hooks up with them because they all get tossed in prison. And then they go and try to get this artifact back from the dude who grabbed it. And that's kind of the movie. Like it's not a really that amazing sounding synopsis, but the movie actually is a pretty great movie. Did you find out what Ronan's deal was? Ronan was the blue fanatic guy. Well, we're just gonna go ahead and move on then. Lest this become the alien abduction review.
Right. Good point.
Yeah. So, what did you think as far as acting went?
I thought the acting was pretty good. I mean, the nice thing about movies like this is you don't have to have, like, Oscar-worthy acting performances.
Yeah. It's an action movie.
Yeah, it's action. It's, like, visually appealing. It's fun to watch. So, nobody was, like, amazing. But nobody was awful. I think everyone did pretty good. The main guy who played Peter Quill was, I thought he was funny. Like, he had a kind of a goofball-ishness about him, which worked well with the character. I thought everybody played their character pretty well. Yeah, I like the acting. Overall, I was a fan of the acting.
Yeah, I didn't really, there wasn't really a character that I could pick out that was a bad actor. Then again, there weren't that many characters I could pick out that were stellar actors either. I thought the guy playing Ronan, I don't know who that was. I don't think he was a big name particularly, or was he?
Lee Pace.
Is Lee Pace like a big? I don't know that name.
I know the name, but you know.
Like, how big is he? What has he been in?
He was in the last Twilight movie.
So no, not a big actor. All right.
He was in a show called Pushing Daisies. Pushing Daisies. Have you heard of that?
I've heard of the saying "pushing up daisies," but
he was in. I don't know. He's dreamy.
Gotcha. So he's, which really, like, for an eye candy actor, he actually did a really good job, I felt, of playing that character. The character was supposed to be basically really just arrogant and insane, and I felt he brought that across very well.
Yeah.
And everybody else, I mean, everybody did really just a fine job. I wouldn't say it was, like, enough to stand out that I went like, wow, these are really good actors, but there was never a point where I went like, oh, that's really bad acting. So so I'd give a thumbs up to the acting overall.
And I think too, it's good. What was good is that some of the actors had to be voice actors, specifically like the character of Rocket the raccoon.
Rocket Raccoon, which was Bradley Cooper, which is really funny.
Yeah, so I think he did a really good job considering you could never see he was never face. Even on camera. You could never see his face, but tonally he did a good job voicing that character. So, like he was another one who did a pretty good job, I think.
And then there was Vin Diesel, who had all of 4 lines of dialogue. 4 words worth of dialogue, excuse me. And for some reason, it really tickles me that they hired Vin Diesel to play a character that, like, a CG character that only ever says 3 words and at one point interjects a 4th word. I don't know why that tickles me so much, but it really does. I can't call good or bad acting on that because it really was not the character was really important, but it wasn't a big part, if that makes any sense.
Right.
Yeah. But yeah,
overall impression.
Yeah. So A on the acting for me. What was your overall impression? I mean, I think we both kind of liked it, but.
Oh yeah, I think we both really dug it. I mean, and we saw it on like a Friday afternoon, and the theater was still pretty packed. So I think it's one of those movies that I think everyone has been going to see. I thought it was pretty good. It was overhyped for me by just the word of mouth. Like I heard so many people talking about it.
Everybody's like, "Oh God, it's amazing."
Yeah, and I heard so many people saying it's like the best movie they've ever seen in their entire life. So my expectations were a little higher than they should have been, I think, and so I felt like slightly let down. Not that the movie wasn't good, but just my expectations were just like I was expecting to have like a religious experience watching this movie.
And it was really good, but it wasn't like I didn't come out of the theater going like, man, I really have to call my doctor or something like that.
Right.
really have to call Geico about that health insurance or whatever. But like, oh man, I really gotta get around to changing my religion.
Right, exactly. It wasn't that good, but it was a great movie. I thoroughly enjoyed it.
I will say right now, before we go on into kind of any sort of spoiler territory, that the hype for this movie's been just massive, and you're really not going to get much of a dissenting opinion, at least from me. I don't know if Melissa has more specific things that she wasn't a fan of, but at least for me, I thought it was a really good movie. And there were a couple of things I picked out that did irk me a little bit or seemed out of place or whatever, but I had an overwhelmingly positive experience, so I really enjoyed the movie.
Yeah. So, would you recommend seeing this movie?
Would I recommend? Yeah, absolutely. I mean, if you haven't already, which most people have probably seen it already, but if you haven't seen it already, go out and see it. It's totally it deserves at least most of the hype that it's gotten. I don't know if all of it, because people are kind of heralding it as the next, as the second coming, but.
But yeah, but it is good. The buzz is for a reason. It's definitely, and I think it's one of those movies that's really worth watching in a theater.
Hi guys, sorry about that. There was some sort of video recording issue there, but we got it all fixed. Melissa was just talking about how Guardians of the Galaxy is a good movie to go see in theaters if you have a chance to. So I'll let her get back to that.
Yeah, that's basically the gist of what I was saying. I was just saying, but I was about to say when we got cut off that it's a really pretty movie. There's a lot of CG, special effects, and it's just visually pretty. And so seeing it in the theater in the dark with the surround sound on the big screen was an experience as well.
Was awesome.
Yeah. So I think that like the movie would have still been great not in the theater, but I think having it in the theater elevated it a little for me just because it's an experience going to the movie theater. So that was it.
That's overall. So we both recommend it. And if you can, see it in the theater.
Yeah.
And I think that brings us up to our spoiler alert.
Yep.
So, and I don't think there's been any foul language up until now, but just in case, I'm gonna go ahead and put spoiler alert from this point on. If you want to go see the movie, and we both recommend seeing the movie, go see it before you watch the rest of this. And just in case, I'm going to put a language alert up. It's probably going to be fine, but you never know. So okay, spoiler alert. So what were there any parts that you either particularly liked or particularly disliked?
Okay, so I loved the character Groot.
yeah,
which
was Vin Diesel's character, who all he says throughout the entire movie is, "I am Groot," and that's his speech.
That character, though, even though he barely spoke, that character won my friggin' heart. I loved that character.
She did.
I love that character. That character made the movie for me. It was my favorite character. I loved it. If that character, seriously, I wouldn't have enjoyed the movie as much if that character had not have been in it.
Yeah, I liked, that's the thing, I actually liked every character. I liked Quill, I liked Gamora, Batista's character was, it was kind of a stereotypical character, but I really liked it, and I think Batista was kind of perfect for that role, because it's a big swingy tough guy, which kind of fits Batista perfectly. Rocket Raccoon I thought was a really cool character, and Groot was a really, I mean, he wasn't a complex character, but he was kind of their he was kind of their get out of this situation Batman spray, crap, we're in a really difficult situation, how do we get out of it? And then Groot just grew an appendage or fired little fireflies out of his hand or whatever to get them out of that situation, which I don't really mind. You'd think that would be something that would bother me, but it really kind of didn't. I was sort of okay with that because they didn't abuse it. They did it enough that I noticed it, but it wasn't just really blatant and constant. So
yeah, I agree with that. For me, Groot was kind of the Chewbacca of the movie.
He was more useful than Chewbacca was.
But I had the same I just wanted to hug the tree, and I wanted to take it home and have a little tree in my house and hug it and have the tree. I loved that character. I loved it so much. And the raccoon was my second favorite character. And but like you said, I enjoyed all the characters. There was no character. I mean, the bad characters, I was, I hated them, but you're supposed to hate them.
I appreciated their character at the same time. Ronan's character, I appreciated his character, and I literally looked at his name 10 minutes ago. I don't remember it right now, but the guy from Step Brothers that isn't Will Ferrell.
Yeah.
Do you know off the top of your head what his name was?
In real life or in the movie?
In real life.
Oh, John C. Reilly.
John C. Reilly. Okay, yeah. His character was Specialist Day or something, and he was with the what did they call themselves? They were they were basically the law keepers of the galaxy sort of thing.
Yeah, they were and specifically there was like, I guess the Nova.
Yeah, that's what they were. Yeah, they were the Nova Corps. And actually, one of the things I really liked was the design of their ships. I don't know if you remember, like they were the little kind of starburst shaped things.
Oh yeah, that was really cool. And there's a really awesome. I mean, there's a lot of awesome scenes, and I think it's really appealing because it's an action movie, but like it has a lot to it. Like there's like emotional stuff, and there were times like. There was mostly one time where I really legit wanted to cry and had to hold back tears.
Yeah, no, I'm kind of with her. I totally was like getting teary eyed at that same part that she was.
So there's a lot to it. It has a lot going for it, and I think it can appeal to so many people. It's not just a straight action movie or a drama or a comedy. There's just like all those elements combined into one. I think that's what makes it so great, is because you get so much out of a 2-hour experience, basically.
Yeah, I think it's the kind of thing like men, women, older people, kids, really anybody could enjoy this movie. It was very it was it jumped across the age gap. I feel it jumped across sort of. So like I think I think it probably will have a lot of appeal to a lot of people, and that's probably why it's getting the hype it's getting.
Oh yeah, I'm sure. Sure.
But like, yeah, John C. Reilly's character was really entertaining, even though he wasn't in that much of the movie. He was like the second in command of the Nova Corps or something like that, or at least the liaison to the main lady, who she was a big name actress too, but
Glenn Close.
Glenn Close, yeah. Yeah, her sister Glenn Farr was going to be in it, but they couldn't find her. She was off in the distance somewhere. Or her brother Jamie Farr, I don't know. But yeah, like his character was entertaining, her character was entertaining. There was some random nobody character. I don't know if you remember, like the dude, like the really chiseled Nova Corps guy with the chin that. Who was the leader of the blockade? Like his character was barely in the movie again, and like he had a really cool character.
Even small characters, there was like care and thought put into them, making them, even small words. Yeah, like even small characters they were more well-rounded than like bit parts usually are in movies. So you like the fact that we remember them, says something to me, because usually you're like the random guy that walked by in that scene, like,
whatever his name was.
Right. But warning, it is going to make you want to watch Step Brothers. At least it did for us.
Yeah. Well, for some reason, seeing that guy in any movie makes me want to watch Step Brothers, and we went home that night and watched Step Brothers after that movie, which is probably why this movie review is being filmed several days later.
So, yeah, it was really good. You want to get into dislikes now?
Well, alright.
I know you had a dislike. I honestly don't really have any dislikes. Honestly, like, no issues that I had are strong enough to even be qualified as a dislike. So.
I really, like, I was almost going to give this movie a 10. I really was. I really enjoyed myself. Just immense enjoyment. And I thought it was really masterfully executed, except for a few little things that bugged me. Do you kind of want me to go first and get us started, I guess?
Yeah, you go first, because I'm going to play off your main one.
Okay, well, I'll save my main one.
Okay.
That'll probably be the last thing we talk about, because that was kind of a big thing.
Yeah.
There's this one part where they're in a bar in nowhere, which I'm gonna put this out here right now. My comic book experience is pretty much Batman and nothing. So I know nothing about this universe. I don't know these characters from comic books, how they are. I don't even know if some of them are from specifically the Marvel universe or if they were just invented for this movie. I don't know. So some of these may be excusable to you because it's that way in the comic book, but at least for me, as just a moviegoer knowing nothing really about it going in except that Rocket Raccoon exists in the Marvel universe, I just wanted to put that out there. So there's this part where they're in nowhere, which is like the head of an ancient being, like the hollowed out head of an ancient being that they turned into a space station.
I'll be right back while you're talking. I'm gonna shut my window.
Okay. And it's sort of like Mos Eisley. It's just like a kind of a rogue area where the scum of the galaxy hang out, sort of thing. And they're in a bar there, Rocket Raccoon and Batista. And I'm literally just gonna call his character's name, I believe, was Brax. I'm just gonna call him Batista because he's Batista. And it'd be like if I was reviewing that if I was reviewing Christmas Sleigh, I'd just call Santa Claus Stone Cold. But yeah, so Batista, Rocket Raccoon, and Gamora and Groot, I think, are all in a bar, and Quinn has gone off to do. See, I keep wanting to call him Quinn. I don't know why. There's no good reason for it. I just do. I guess because Quill's kind of a weird name. But yeah, Quill goes off. Or did he go off with Gamora? Were they outside? Was that when he tried to kiss her and she almost stabbed him? Yeah, okay. So he and Gamora are outside. Rocket, Batista, and Groot are inside. And Quill and Gamora come back in, and it's Rocket, Raccoon, and Batista are like at each other's throats, and Groot's kind of keeping them apart. And they ask like, they ask like what's going on, and Rocket Raccoon goes into this really just weird, uncomfortable, like existential crisis, J.C. Denton, I didn't ask for this dialogue, and like it was really the only time it was mentioned. I mean, they mentioned that he had been, like, he was the fruit of some illegal experimentation, but they didn't really go into, like, his existential, like, I don't want to live like this, like, I didn't ask to... Basically, he says, I didn't ask to be made, I didn't want to live like this sort of thing, and it's like a whole minute of the movie, but it was really jarring because it comes out of nowhere, and it's the only time it's mentioned. And there's a kitty cat on the floor. And I found it really just kind of uncomfortable and unnecessary. I think it could have really safely been cut. I don't know, like, what did you think of that?
Honestly, I thought it was okay. I thought it made the character, like, I just thought it added some depth to the character who had been kind of not one-dimensional, but, you know, there really hadn't been emotion or you know, any sort of vulnerable emotion shown. So the fact that it showed vulnerable emotion really kind of, like, for me, just rounded out the character more. I mean, they didn't touch on it again, but I was okay with that. That wasn't particularly a dislike for me. And it was short enough that I didn't feel like it was too, like, it was just, you know, a little speech. It wasn't like, you know, it didn't take up too long in the movie.
It wasn't half of the movie.
Right.
I know it was characterization. I just feel I feel they could have been a little bit, like, that felt like a little bit of brick to the face. Like
it came out of nowhere.
Yeah, like it came out of nowhere. It would just, like, it went... And then it just disappeared. I feel they could have done that a little bit more subtly.
I agree with that. Like, it just kind of came and went. It wasn't, like, there wasn't a subtle build-up or anything.
Yeah, it was just like that. You're like, oh, okay, I guess he feels that way. And then the movie sort of continues.
Yeah, I agree.
And so there was the Rocket Raccoon thing. At the end of the movie, and this is, like, really super-duper spoiler alert, these next two. So just stick your fingers in your ears if you really don't want the end of the movie spoiled. But they get the Infinity Stone. Quill does. I almost called him Quinn again. Quill gets the Infinity Stone from Ronan, basically by, I don't know if anybody here plays Warhammer 40k. He basically did a blather check where he just gibberished at him, and it confused him, and then he got shot with a missile, and then Quill, like, had the stone. And I don't know, I think they could have had another way for him to distract the villain that wasn't just singing tunes from, like, the 80s, I think. Though I have to admit, I do have that song stuck in my head now.
I see. I liked that. I thought that was really like it went along with kind of the whimsy that character had throughout the whole thing. So
Whimsy of the character is one thing, but Ronan's character I don't feel would sit still for that. I think he'd just kill him.
Yeah, that is a good point. Like I didn't mind that they did that, but the reaction of Ronan, like the fact that he had been so focused on his one like set goal the whole movie, and then to just get confused by like a very simple
by Quill singing to him.
Yeah, I agree with that. I don't think that was necessarily very plausible, especially with how they had developed that character throughout the movie.
Yeah, so that kind of bugged me. But yeah, so that wasn't the big one though. The big one, and Melissa contests me on this. It was like right before that happened, actually, because I mean, it ends how you expect it to end. Comic book movie status quo. Basically, everything is the same at the end as it was at the beginning, except that the villain has been disposed of. So yeah, it's a Marvel movie. That's kind of how comic book storylines tend to do things. But at one point, they're in Ronan's ship, and it's going down. Like, this big, kind of neatly designed, like, Twisty Pretzel ship is going down with them in it. And,
Twisty Pretzel ship?
That's, yeah, Twisty Pretzel ship.
No, I totally agree, it's just funny.
And Groot, like, gets them all in a huddle and starts growing, like, limbs and leaves and, like, basically making a shield around them so that when they crash, he'll absorb the brunt of the blow, of the explosion, of the shock, and it'll kill him but leave them alive. And Rocket Raccoon even tells him, like, because he's Rocket Raccoon's partner, essentially. And Rocket Raccoon tells him, like, you can't do that, you'll die. And he's, Groot's basically ready to do it anyway out of love for, Rocket Raccoon and the rest of the adventurers. And so he does it, and, and they hit the ground, and they're, like, in a... Like, there's an explosion, flash of white, and they're in a crater, and you see, like, timber just scattered all throughout the crater, which was funny because you could tell that it was not CG. Like, Groot was made entirely out of CG, and you could tell that somebody had, for the actual wood they used in that scene, had gone to a beach and picked up driftwood. But that's not it. So he did the whole, like, heroic sacrifice thing, and it was a big deal, and, like, Rocket Raccoon and Batista had a whole kind of comforting scene about it. But later, like, as they're leaving the wreckage, Rocket Raccoon picks up, like, a little twig and, like, sticks it in a pot, and they leave. And, like, at the end of the movie... for the after credit sequence, you see that Groot is, like, regrowing in the pot as, like, a little tiny baby Groot, which was adorable. But I really feel that if you're gonna do the heroic sacrifice thing in a film, you have to actually kill that character, or else it really devalues the sacrifice. And Melissa disagrees.
I disagree with every fiber of my being. That character was amazing. I literally was like biting my lip to not cry when I thought that character died. I
was too, but that's good storytelling. It was moving.
I was just like, and they took a little while to reveal to you that the twig was going to grow. I just thought he was keeping a piece of his friend.
That's what I thought, too.
Sad. I was like, this is the saddest thing ever. Like, literally, this is the saddest thing ever. And then when that happened, my heart lit up, and the choir's song, and heaven opened up, and I'm pretty sure Jesus talked to me for a little bit. It was amazing. It saved me. It saved me because I was literally having like a crisis in my head. Like, if this is how the movie ends, I'm gonna hate it. I'm gonna tell everyone I hate it. I'm never gonna watch it again. I'm gonna be really mad. I'm gonna bitch to Ryan all night long. Which, if you weren't with us, but if you had been with us for 47 Ronin, it would have been a similar reaction to what I had for that movie, which Ryan can tell you lasted for quite a while, even days.
Maybe we'll do a review of 47 Ronin on here. I think it would be hilarious to get like you ranting about 47 Ronin on film.
So I would have been so mad, and I would have went out of my way to tell people that you should never watch this movie because it's gonna break your heart and crush your soul. So when they brought Groot back, I was okay. I'm good. So that to me was an absolute necessary thing for me to even be talking about this movie right now, because I would have still been bitter today.
Oh, I just see, that's the thing that like I really liked that character, and yeah, there are movies that do the heroic sacrifice thing and the hero lives, but this really had a sense of finality to it. Like, they're really gonna kill this character, and I don't know, like, it didn't feel right to me. I liked the character, I was sad to see him go, but I kind of felt that it was the right thing to do. Because they made the big build-up of, like, him, like, he was the only reason that they lived, like, he'd given himself so that these other four characters could live, which was really sort of the message of the movie. Like, the movie really was a just big group hug when you get right down to the basics of it. It was because literally at the end they use the power of friendship to kill God. Or, well, they use the power of friendship to kill whatever Ronan had become. And so I don't know, I feel it would have carried infinitely more weight if they would have genuinely killed that character.
I disagree. But for any of you watching this, I would be interested, for people who've seen the movie, like, to comment. I'd be interested to see people's comments of how you felt about that, because for me that would have killed the movie. Like, I literally would have just been so mad about this movie that I would have either not wanted to talk about it for quite a while, or wanted to talk about it every time I opened my mouth ever to talk to anyone, because I had to tell them about how awful it was. So, our reactions are pretty polar opposite.
Ever so slightly. And it's weird, too, because I can't pinpoint exactly why I feel that way about this movie when, like, we watch Wreck-It Ralph together, and they do that in Wreck-It Ralph, but, like, and, you know, when the hero is fine at the end. But I don't know, it felt fine in that movie. In this movie, it really just didn't seem to fit. And I can't honestly say why it just felt out of place in this particular film, but it just sort of did. So that's my opinion on that, and that was kind of the big thing that I took away from the movie that I thought could have been changed. My other stuff's really kind of minor. I mean, the Rocket Raccoon thing was awkward, but not that terrible. And the singing thing was, I felt was kind of stupid and out of character for Ronan, but I can excuse it because it had been a fairly goofy movie up until then.
Yeah.
I just, I don't know. I'm going to stop babbling about it because I'm just going to talk myself in a circle for the next hour. Didn't you have a comment about Gamora and her sister, the blue robot girl?
Oh yeah. Well, there was a fight between them, which...
And there's quick backstory on this. They're sisters. Gamora and the blue girl are sisters, daughters of Thanos, who went to work for Ronan as part of some deal that Ronan would give Thanos the orb, which was the artifact that they found, and they hate one another. Like, really obviously hate one another. And, yeah, go on.
Yeah, I mean, I know that they had the tension between them throughout the movie so they could have the fight in the end, but the fight was very kind of anticlimactic because the sister just kind of escapes and goes away and you don't see her again.
And isn't seen again. Yeah, she gets knocked out of Ronan's ship, takes over a Nova ship, and then disappears.
So there wasn't any sort of resolution to that, which may be because that character's coming back in another movie. Because at the end they had the Guardians of the Galaxy will return kind of flash up on the screen.
So they're banking for a sequel on this one.
Right. So that may have been why they did that, but it was I don't like that they put so much emphasis on their story. Like, they probably devoted a good cumulative 5 minutes of that movie to their story, to their, referencing throughout the movie their tension, bringing up their tension just in little subtle ways, just to have nothing come of it in the end.
Right. In the end, there's kind of a big fight, but then she just gets knocked out of the ship and escapes. And Gamora's not like, I'll follow you to the ends of the universe. It just kind of, that subplot just goes away, and the movie continues.
Yeah, so that wasn't awesome. It didn't really even detract too much from the movie. I just thought it's kind of like your Rocket Raccoon thing. Like, it didn't really need to be the way it was, but it didn't make the movie worse for me or anything really overall.
It was just weird.
Yeah.
I don't
really have. I mean, honestly, I think we've covered a lot.
What was that for the last couple of days? I've had that song stuck in my head. It was in all the trailers, and they played it at the beginning of the movie. Do you remember what it was?
No, I don't have it stuck in my head, so I can't even remember what song
it was. I don't anymore. As of this morning, it was gone. But it was it was a love song, and it was on that tape that his mother gave him.
I'm looking it up. I'm trying to see if I can find it.
Okay. Yeah, I'm trying to think of anything else that really. Did you find it?
It was the song "Ooh Child."
Really?
That's what it says.
I don't know that that's the song, but that's what
IMDb said, but who knows?
Maybe it is, and it doesn't have anything to do with the lyrics. But either way, that it stuck that song in my head for a couple of days, which I don't even think that song's really that good of a song. I thought it worked really well with the visuals that they played with it during the movie.
Mm-hmm.
So it kind of stuck in my brain a little bit, but I can't really, unless you can think of anything else, I think I'm kind of done
myself. I don't think so. I mean,
I
say go see it, and I would be interested, to see people's comments. To see what they thought about it.
The Groot thing, or just in general?
Yeah, just about the movie in general. If you thought it was, as good as the hype is, or, if you liked it, disliked it, disagree with us, agree with us, I'd be curious.
Yeah, go ahead and comment. Let us know what you thought of the movie, and I'd be curious to know what people thought of the Groot thing. I'm probably in the minority on that. Most people are probably going to agree with you, but
I would hope so.
I'm a bastard.
I tell you that all the time.
You bastard! But, so yeah, I still do give the movie, though, I give the movie a good, solid 9 out of 10. I thought it was really great. I had a great time watching it. I love the characters. I love the visuals. I like the plot. There were a couple little things that I thought were a bit slippery, but other than that, I really don't have any complaints. So, yeah, 9 out of 10. I really recommend you go see it.
And honestly, I agree with your rating. Because Groot lived, I agree with your rating. Honestly, out of all the comic book movies I've seen, and I know I've seen more comic book movies than you have, because I'm a little bit more of not that I'm a comic book fan, but I like those kind of big epic action comic book movies generally.
I just watch Batman movies. I tried watching a couple of the Spider-Man movies, and I'm like, oh man, these are shit. And then I just gave up.
The Avengers,
I haven't seen those
yet.
That's a
fun movie. I like the Avengers, but this is by far the best comic book movie I've seen. I like it. I'm talking about Avengers type movies. It's not really. I don't even compare it to the Batman movies, because those are just a whole other thing.
Okay, because I was gonna say I'd probably say Dark Knight Rises. Or no,
Yeah.
not Dark Knight Rises, just the first one in that series, The Dark Knight. Because Dark Knight Rises was still okay, but yeah,
not wonderful.
No.
So yeah, I'm more comparing it to like everything but the Batman movies because those really are another animal, especially the ones with Christian Bale. They're just a whole different. I mean, even though they're comic movies, they're a whole different kind of genre, in my opinion.
I can see why you'd say that. I'd say that, yeah, I'd say overall, just all comic book properties, I'd probably say the first of those Batman movies, the first Christian Bale Batman movie, even accepting his gravelly, stupid Batman voice, I just really like that movie, and the Joker and Harvey Dent, and I really like it.
Just to me, nothing compares to the Batman movies. Like, I grew up watching all the Batman movies. That's my favorite comic book universe. Like,
me too.
Those are my favorite comic book movies, period. So excluding those, because, nothing would compare to those in my opinion, or has it yet. Excluding those, I would say this is probably the comic book movie I've enjoyed the most, more than like Spider-Man, Superman, Fantastic Four, Avengers, Iron Man, Thor, Captain America, all that stuff. So I agree with you, 9 out of 10. Had it gone another way, had it gone the way you wanted it to go, I don't even know that I'd be talking about it right now because I would be that mad about it.
Well, jeez. Damn you, movie makers! Damn you! But as it stands, our ratings are both 9 out of 10, and we do both recommend you go see the movie in the theater if possible, because it's really an experience worth having. Again, not differing much from the party line here on this movie so far. It's gotten a lot of positive press and a lot of praise from people and critics, and I think it deserves it personally. So.
Oh yeah, I agree.
So I think that's it, unless there's anything else you want to say.
I think we covered it pretty good. I talked about everything I wanted to talk about.
All right, I basically babbled about everything I wanted to babble about, so thank you for joining us for another episode of Horror Bear, this one about Guardians of the Galaxy. Hope you enjoyed watching it, and hopefully see you guys again for another episode real soon.